she's been distant. The last time intimacy even crossed her mind feels like a memory from another lifetime. You notice it, the lack of spark, the absence of that subtle closeness you once shared. But here's the truth most men never see. When a woman hasn't been intimate in a long time, her behavior isn't random. It's deliberate, a signal your mind can't ignore if you understand the code. At first, it's almost imperceptible. A lingering glance across the room, a subtle brush of her hand when she thinks you're not noticing, a voice that softens just a fraction when she speaks to you. These tiny gestures are not coincidence. They are her way of testing the waters, feeling out whether you're still tuned into her energy. And if you've been distracted, caught up in work, friends, or your own routines, she's already calculating how to pierce through that fog and capture your attention again. She may start mirroring you, not consciously, not in a try-hard way, but in the way humans instinctively respond when they crave connection. If you stand, she stands. If you laugh, her smile curves the same way yours does. This is more than flirtation. This is primal, almost chemical communication. Your mind may dismiss it as politeness or coincidence, but her body is screaming the same message she can't yet say out loud. Notice me. I need you to notice me. You might also see her suddenly caring more about details. The way she dresses, the perfume she chooses, even the little things you used to mention in passing. She remembers. She's cataloging what makes you look twice, what triggers a spark in your attention. When a woman hasn't been intimate in months or even years, her mind becomes a finely tuned radar for what she lost and what she wants to reclaim. She isn't just trying to look good. She's strategically signaling that the desire you once shared can be reignited. Emotionally, she's shifting. There's a tension, an edge in her voice when she talks to you, a vulnerability you can't quite place. She may seem more sensitive, more reactive, or even slightly aloof, as if challenging you to break through her walls. This isn't manipulation in the petty sense. It's the human instinct to reconnect, to feel alive through the intimacy she's been missing. And here's the crucial part. The intensity you're noticing is magnified by time. The longer she's gone without real closeness, the stronger, sharper, more precise these signals become. And then subtly, she tests boundaries. Not with overt demands, but with moments designed to see if your awareness, your presence, is still tuned in. Maybe she laughs a little louder at your jokes, touches her hair in a way that draws your eye, or sits closer than necessary during casual conversations. Each act is a breadcrumb. She's watching how you respond. Men often overlook these signs because they look for something dramatic, something like a direct confession, but women rarely give it all away at once. This is where the psychology hits deep. She's not only signaling desire, she's revealing what she's willing to risk, emotionally and socially, to get your attention. The mix of subtlety and intensity is calculated. And when a man finally notices, when he reads between the lines and acknowledges her presence with curiosity and confidence, something shifts. She feels seen, truly seen, in a way that revives long-dormant instincts. Her energy changes instantly, like a switch has been flipped, because the acknowledgement of her signals triggers the chemical responses she's been holding back. So pay attention, really pay attention. Don't mistake her gestures for casual behavior. Don't let the comfort of routine blind you to the complex dance happening right in front of you. When a woman hasn't been intimate in a long time, she's not just looking for sex, she's looking for recognition, for connection, for the spark that tells her she's alive to someone she desires. And if you respond correctly, if you understand her language, you don't just rekindle a moment, you unlock a level of attraction that's intense, immediate, and impossible to ignore. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what she's doing, why she's doing it, and how to respond in ways that pull her closer without pushing. But you have to understand the signals first. And right now, this is the first layer, the subtle groundwork she lays before the fireworks even begin. Now you might be thinking, she's just being friendly, right? Maybe she's bored or lonely. That's exactly what most men assume, and that's why they miss the truth entirely. This isn't casual. When a woman hasn't been intimate for a long time, her behavior is amplified, layered, and often deliberate. She's testing the depth of your attention, the sharpness of your observation, and whether the connection you once had can be awakened. She begins to orchestrate moments that feel almost coincidental, but they're anything but. You might notice her appearing in your line of sight more often, standing in a place where she knows your gaze will find her. She may bump into you in a hallway, or comment on something small that only you would remember. These aren't accidents, they are strategic nudges designed to capture your awareness. And the longer she's gone without intimacy, the more precise and magnetic these nudges become. Emotionally, she's navigating a delicate balance of vulnerability and control. She wants to be seen, but she also wants to feel your desire without desperation. That tension creates what I call the invisible pull, a psychological force that draws men closer, even when they think they're in control. And here's the fascinating part. Men respond almost automatically to it, because her signals are deeply rooted in primal attraction triggers, subtle eye contact, micro-expressions of longing, and the nuanced rhythm of her speech. You might notice her tone shifting. A question she asks you isn't just a question, it's a probe. How was your day? Or did you do anything fun? May seem ordinary, but delivered with a certain lilt, a hesitation, a smile that touches her eyes, it's a signal. She's opening a window into her world, inviting you to step closer. And men who are unaware, they'll answer automatically, miss the subtext, and walk away without realizing how close she just came to igniting desire. Her gestures grow bolder, yet they maintain a careful edge. A touch on the shoulder lingers slightly longer than necessary. She leans in closer when speaking, bridging the space between you. Even when she steps back, it's not retreat, it's a subtle test. How do you respond? Do you follow with attention, with curiosity, with intrigue? Or do you stay static, letting the opportunity slip by? This is where most men falter. They underestimate the significance of what seems minor. The truth is, these behaviors are her way of rewriting the narrative between you. She's signaling, I'm available emotionally. I'm open to you noticing me, but only if you are worthy of my attention. The key isn't to chase, to push, or to demand. The key is to read, to understand, and to reflect that awareness back. Women who have gone without intimacy for extended periods are hyper-aware of what works. They know exactly how to create tension, anticipation, and curiosity without overtly revealing everything. And here's where it gets interesting. Her mind is replaying memories of connection, intimacy, and chemistry. The way she laughs, the way she tilts her head, the way her eyes follow your movements, all of it is a rehearsal of what she's craving. She's practicing the language of attraction, testing your receptivity. She wants to see if you still respond to the version of her that she knows ignites desire, or if your attention has dulled over time. You can feel it, even if you don't consciously recognize it. There's an energy in the air when she's near, a mixture of restraint and invitation. It's subtle but electric, and the men who understand this know that responding isn't about chasing, it's about acknowledgement, validation, quiet confidence. A simple shift in awareness can transform her signals from flickers of attention into full-blown desire. So pay close attention. Every look, every gesture, every tone carries weight. Ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. It amplifies her strategies. Understanding it gives you leverage, not to manipulate, but to respond in a way that honors her signals while building irresistible attraction. This is the dance she's been preparing for in silence. And if you learn the steps, the result is magnetic, primal, and impossible to resist. Here's the hard truth most men don't see. When a woman hasn't been intimate in a long time, she's not just craving closeness, she's craving acknowledgement of her presence, her value, and her power. Every subtle move she makes is calculated to spark recognition in you, to remind you that she exists not only in your environment, but in your mind. And if you miss it, you'll never realize just how close you came to reigniting something potent. Her energy is magnetic, even if it's disguised under casual conversation. The way she positions herself, the way she smiles just slightly when you enter the room, the unconscious way her body angles toward you. These are all subconscious tactics to pull your attention. She isn't playing games, she's signaling, testing, and preparing the emotional groundwork for intimacy. And a man who sees these signs has an advantage most men will never understand. Notice how she subtly shifts when others are around. It's almost imperceptible, but when you're the target of her attention, she becomes more alive, more present. Her laughter carries a little more warmth, her eyes linger a little longer, her gestures expand beyond necessity. This is not mere friendliness. This is the human mind signaling desire without words. Women instinctively know that overt declarations can diminish the allure. so she relies on nuance, the kind of cues only a man who truly observes can detect. She may also use emotional mirrors to reconnect. If you're stressed, distracted, or excited, she reflects it back to you. Not exactly copying, but attuning herself to your emotional state. She's testing your reactions, seeing if your energy resonates with hers. This creates a feedback loop that can make her presence intoxicating, because your mind starts associating her attention with emotional reward, anticipation, and curiosity. This is why subtle attention from a woman who has gone without intimacy feels so powerful. It taps into primal instincts you barely control. The micro gestures are deliberate. The brush of her hand, the angle of her gaze, the way she positions her body, these are all signals your subconscious decodes before your conscious mind even realizes. Men often overlook them because they expect drama, intensity, or direct statements. But this is the opposite. The power lies in restraint. She's using time, absence, and subtlety to heighten tension. Every unspoken cue is a puzzle piece she wants you to assemble. And psychologically, there's a deeper layer. When she hasn't been intimate, she's experiencing a heightened awareness of her own needs, her own value, and the scarcity of attention from someone she desires. This amplifies her signals, because they're not casual, they're fueled by longing. Longing changes behavior, it sharpens awareness, it transforms ordinary gestures into signals charged with potential desire. And a man who perceives this can respond with precision, creating a connection that feels both immediate and inevitable. She may also push boundaries in small, almost imperceptible ways. A laugh that lingers too long, a word whispered in proximity, a hand resting near yours. These are tests of response. She's asking, without saying it aloud, "Are you awake to me? Can you see what I'm offering?" If you respond with attention and subtle confidence, her signals intensify. If you ignore them, she recalibrates, conserving her energy for someone who notices. Here's the key. This isn't about manipulation, seduction, or strategy in the shallow sense. This is the natural expression of desire in a woman who's gone without intimacy. She's using every tool in her subconscious arsenal to awaken connection, emotional resonance, and attraction. Recognizing it requires observation, awareness, and patience. Responding to it requires subtlety, presence, and confidence. Pay attention to the rhythm of her signals. Watch how they build over time, crescendoing in ways that are almost impossible to ignore. This is the hidden language she uses to communicate her needs, her interest, and her desire for acknowledgement. And the moment you understand it, the entire dynamic shifts. This is where most men fail. They see her gestures, her lingering glances, the subtle shifts in tone, and they either overreact or completely ignore them. But when a woman hasn't been intimate in a long time, she's testing more than desire. She's testing presence, awareness, and emotional intelligence. How you respond doesn't just determine attraction, it determines whether she feels safe, seen, and acknowledged at a level few men ever achieve. Confidence is the foundation, not arrogance, not posturing, not trying to win her attention. True, grounded confidence. When she approaches you with subtle signals, your response should reflect calm awareness. A slight smile, sustained eye contact, or a quiet nod in acknowledgement communicates far more than words ever could. This tells her, without saying it, "I see you, I recognize your energy, I'm aware of what you're offering," and that awareness is a trigger more powerful than overt pursuit. Next, timing is everything. She doesn't want urgency, she wants measured engagement. React too quickly, and the tension collapses. React too slowly, and she may pull back. The key is to mirror the rhythm of her signals. If she leans in, you lean in slightly. If she retreats, you hold your ground with subtle interest. The back and forth, the push and pull, is not a game, it's the natural cadence of desire being reignited. A man who masters this rhythm suddenly becomes the magnetic center of her attention, without forcing it. Observation sharpens power. Every detail counts. The way she tilts her head, the softening in her eyes, the subtle touch of her hand. These are cues of intention, and responding to them requires presence. Notice her energy shifts, and let your behavior reflect an understanding of those shifts. Compliment her naturally, not just on appearance, but on qualities that resonate with her identity. The way she laughs, the way she engages with her world, the way she carries herself. These acknowledgements, small but precise, create a psychological resonance that builds anticipation. Emotional anchoring is essential. When she tests boundaries, respond with grounded emotional energy. She may tease, push, or challenge. These are micro tests of your composure. Do not react impulsively. Instead, anchor yourself in confidence, a quiet sense of humor, and subtle intrigue. This shows her that you are not easily swayed, that your attention is intentional, and that your presence has stability. That stability is exactly what women crave after long periods without intimacy. It tells them they can safely invest emotionally without losing themselves. Silence can be your greatest ally. Not every signal needs a verbal response. Sometimes holding eye contact, a knowing smile, or a measured pause communicates more than words. It intensifies curiosity and desire. When a woman hasn't been intimate for a long time, her anticipation for acknowledgement is heightened. Allowing space for that anticipation to grow makes every subsequent interaction more powerful. Physical awareness matters too. Subtle cues like mirroring her posture, maintaining a controlled distance, or responding to her proximity without overstepping create a magnetic dynamic. She feels drawn to you not because you're pushy or demanding, but because you are attentive, grounded, and aware of her signals. This is the unspoken language of attraction that transforms latent interest into irresistible pull. Finally, maintain consistency. Once she sees your attention is intentional, not sporadic, she begins to escalate her own signals. Her gestures grow more deliberate, her energy becomes more aligned with yours, and the magnetic pull becomes undeniable. The key is not manipulation, it's attunement. Reading her signals, responding with grounded confidence, and allowing the tension to build naturally is how a man awakens desire in a woman who has gone without intimacy for months or even years. When you master these dynamics, she no longer needs to overcompensate or test you constantly. Your presence alone becomes a catalyst, reigniting attraction, desire, and emotional connection. And the transformation is immediate and powerful, not just for her, but for you. By now you understand that a woman who hasn't been intimate in a long time doesn't act randomly. Every glance, every subtle touch, every shift in energy is intentional, designed to measure, provoke, and test the man she's still curious about. But the truth most men miss is this: she isn't just looking for attention, she's searching for recognition, validation, and the spark that reminds her she's alive in someone else's world. And the way you respond can either awaken that spark or extinguish it entirely. The most powerful leverage a man can wield is awareness. Awareness of her energy, her subtle cues, and the rhythm of her behavior. Awareness allows you to respond with precision, without desperation, without losing yourself in the process. When you acknowledge her signals consciously, you create a psychological space where desire can flow naturally. She feels seen, appreciated, and most importantly, understood. And that is more intoxicating to her than words, gifts, or grand gestures ever could be. Timing and pacing remain critical. She's been building tension subconsciously for weeks, months, even years. If you rush in, if you overwhelm her with overt displays of interest, the spell breaks. But when you respond with patience, measured attention, and subtle affirmation, the effect is profound. Every gesture she's been sending accumulates into anticipation, and anticipation is a chemical force that drives attraction far beyond logic. It's primal, magnetic, and deeply compelling. Emotional resonance is equally vital. A woman who's been distant for a long time is sensitive to energy. She can detect uncertainty, hesitation, or misalignment instantly. But she responds to grounded confidence, genuine curiosity, and subtle emotional intelligence. Your reactions communicate your worth in a way words cannot. A single, well-placed smile, a thoughtful glance, or a confident silence can validate her in ways she's been craving for months. And when that validation lands, her desire becomes focused, precise, and unavoidably drawn to you. At this point, the dynamic shifts. The invisible tension transforms into magnetic pull. She starts mirroring your attention more intensely, laughing at the nuances you notice, leaning closer, lingering in ways that are unmistakable. Every micro-gesture becomes amplified, every subtle cue more urgent. What was once subconscious becomes deliberate, because she senses you are awake to her energy. And in that moment, you're no longer just a man in her environment. You become the center of her attention, the solution to a craving she didn't even fully understand until now. The beauty of this process is that it doesn't require manipulation or theatrics. It requires observation, attunement, and the quiet confidence to hold space for her signals. The moment you align your awareness with her subtle cues, desire escalates naturally, organically, and with incredible intensity. You don't need to chase, you need to understand. You don't need to persuade, you need to acknowledge. And when done correctly, the effect is almost irresistible. She gravitates toward you, consciously and unconsciously, with curiosity, longing, and anticipation. So here's your challenge. Think about the last time you noticed a woman acting differently around you. Did you see the signals? Did you respond with awareness, or did you let them slip by unnoticed? Now I want you to solve this equation for yourself. Awareness plus timing plus emotional resonance equals sign? Comment your answer below and tell me what you would do differently the next time you notice her subtle signals. Like this video. If you found these insights powerful, subscribe to stay updated with more psychologically sharp strategies, and share this with a friend who needs to understand the subtle language of attraction that most men completely miss. The truth is, once you see it, once you understand it, everything changes. The signals, the desire, the pull, they're no longer a mystery. You hold the key, and she knows it, whether consciously or not. The question is, will you notice, and will you respond in a way that awakens the connection she's been waiting for?